Everybody, welcome to Caketastic Cakes. It's Jen and I'm going to show you how to make Isabelle from Animal Crossing out of gum paste. Now, as always, before we get started, if you need any tools or supplies you see me using, if you check in the description, you'll find links that should be able to help you out. Alright, I am going to start with Isabelle's head. I am using some very soft light yellow gum paste, and I had a ball and I kind of pinched and rounded off the top a little bit. And am making almost like a pear shaped because her head is not exactly perfectly round. It's a little flared out at the bottom for her cheeks and her nose. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm taking some nice golden yellow, rolled it out as you saw, kind of hot doggy, and flattened it. And this is going to become her ears. So I'm going to flatten and pinch off the top a little because they kind of taper a bit. And I'm going to put little divots in the bottom of them in a moment that you're going to see, and just more flattening out and smoothing it so it'll go into her head nice and smooth at the top. And right there, I use the back of my knife blade to just kind of put a little groove in the middle of the bottom of her ear. And I'm checking the length because they should come down right about the bottom of her head. And I'm using my fingers just on either side to make like a little curve, so her ears are kind of folded almost in half, sort of, so they curve inward a little bit, because I kind of felt like that's how they looked in the pictures I've seen of her. Some more light yellow. This is going to become her bangs. I just made the circle as you saw, flatten it out a little bit so I could make it fold up over the top of her head, so it's more oval shaped, I guess you'd say. And I'm going to add little divots in there too. And yeah, I don't know, I had never really played Animal Crossing myself. My kids have tried it a couple times and they like it, but it's not really like their thing. So yeah, they have friends though who are very into Animal Crossing, and one of them, who is Dominic, suggested that I make this, so I am making it because I thought it was a fun idea. So there you go. Now I cut out her bangs, as you see, stuck them on the top. I have them kind of angled toward the top of her head there. You can't see it, but that's how they're going. This white circle that I'm now rolling more into an oval is going to become her mouth, like her little white muzzle. I have it pretty flat. I tried to make it as flat as I could, and I'm pressing down with my knife blade, maybe a third of the way on the top to try to make like a little raised up area where her nose will be. I'm pressing upward at the bottom, kind of in the same areas at the top and bottom, maybe a little bit further apart. Those are going to be part of where her cheeks are going to come down, so you're going to see me kind of angled downward a little bit. See, I'm kind of making it just kind of curve downward, kind of like a cloud maybe, a droopy little cloud for her face, and just stick it right on there. You don't want it too high. The white part does come down almost to under her chin, so be careful how you place it. The black dot you see me putting on there is going to be her eye. I'm making it kind of ovally shaped, not too big, and watch your placement of them as well. They have to be up near her bangs and kind of apart. They're not too close together. I'm using a little flattened off piece of gum paste, black gum paste there. And I'm going to put it above each eye and try to make a nice gentle curve for her. I think it's her eyebrows. I don't think it's her eyelashes. So that's what I'm doing with that. I'm trying to make it nice and gentle and friendly and curved, and there you go. And do it on both sides. Now, if you look at pictures of her, you're going to see that her bangs do come down over top her eyebrows a little bit. So I just lifted them up and pulled them down just a tiny bit just to make them overhang a smidge. I'm adding a little beanie right there for her nose, a little more black gum paste. So far nice and easy, not too hard, right? I'm adding a little white dot onto each eye for the little highlight of her eyes. And yeah, she's already looking pretty cute, I gotta say. Okay, now we're adding a little bit of gold, little ovals of gold on each cheek, just because that's what she's got. I don't know why. And make sure you have them spaced pretty far apart. They're not real close to the white or anything. They kind of sit off to the sides pretty well. Now those two balls of yellow you see me messing with on the side there are going to be her little pigtail or whatever it is, her little fluff on top. And I'm starting out with the yellow. I made a big ball and little ball as you saw, put them together, rolled out some gold nice and flat, and just laid it over top of all the yellow just like it were a blanket. I'm using my fingers to just kind of push up and down and pull down on the gold, because if you look at her little ponytail thing in pictures, you're going to see it's kind of wavy. It doesn't go straight up and straight across, of her hair. It goes up and down. So that's what I'm trying to do there without losing too much of my curve. And yeah, there you go. Looking back on it, I feel like I maybe should have made them bigger, but that's what I did. They got to be a good size. I made a circle of red, stuck a piece of dried spaghetti through it, and that's what I'm going to use to hold that little ponytail right on top, and it'll look good once it's dried. It's too soft right now, but you get the idea, right? So I'm just going to put that aside, let it dry. And now I'm moving on to her body. I chose the green outfit, the green shirt with the blue skirt, just because I saw it and I liked it. I thought it was cute. So I took some light green and I rolled it out, compared it to her head, cut off the ends so they're nice and flat. And now I'm taking some dark blue, doing the same darn thing, trying to make sure they match up in width. And the blue is really pretty small. There's not a lot of the blue skirt that shows, so don't go too crazy with it. Her green comes down pretty far over the blue. Make sure you keep that in consideration when you're making her. I use a little water, put the two together, and then roll them together so that they try to make them the same size and everything. And once I'm happy with it, I'm going to take 2 lollipop sticks and shove it right on up through the whole darn thing. They are going to not only support that giant head that I've got sitting there, but they're also going to become the legs for her later, and that way you can stick it in the cake and she can stand up and it'll be perfect. Now, like I said, her head is huge. It's got to dry completely before you go adding it on, but you're going to want to put holes in her head so they can sit on the lollipop sticks, as you don't want to try to force a dried piece of gum paste onto a lollipop stick. It'll just split and crack. It will not let you do it. In the meantime, I've been talking over myself here while I've added 2 holes on either side, or just divots really, not really holes, where her arms will go. And I put a hollow in the front there that I added that piece of white. That's her shirt that shows through the green. So that's just all that is. No big deal there. I'm using this dark green color and I'm going to outline the green of her shirt now. So I cut out a nice stripe, rolled out really thin, pretty much as thin as I could get it. And I just laid it down the body, stuck it on there. I'm going to trim around the top. I just made a skinnier piece of my very flat dark green to go around the neckline. Just put it in place and then trim off the extra with my X-Acto knife, and voila, everything's being held in place with water. I think I mentioned that, but I never know what I mention and what I forget to mention. So I'm going to put that piece around the bottom. I trimmed off what was in the way of that vertical piece on the front of the shirt, and then I just wrap it around. I put some water all around it, make it go all the way around the back, line it up nice and neat, trim it off, and there you go. Now she's got her shirt nice and complete. Not too hard, right? Actually, there's one more touch. I took these 2 little rectangles of the dark green and I'm going to make the pockets on her shirt. I'm using the circle to just cut out the bottom part so it makes it rounded, because the pockets on her shirt are flat across the top and then curved on the sides and the bottom. So that's what I was doing there. That was a crazy zoom out, wasn't it? All right, so a little bit of water, stick them on either side. Make sure they're nice and straight. Press them into place, if whatever you have to do. Moving on, moving on. All right, now we're getting to the arms. Okay, that same light yellow color that was her head. We are going to do her arms and her legs. I just rolled it, as you see, nice and thin, nice and long, matched it up to her body, and you want the arms to come down pretty much to her waist, where that dark green line is on her waist. I'm cutting an angle off of each top corner where it's going to go into the body. And I have white rolled out really thin, and I'm cutting a thicker piece because that first one was no good, wrapping it around the top of the arm, and it's going to overlap the top a little bit, which is fine. That's a good thing, actually, because you don't want the yellow to show. Folding it over a little bit at the top, flatten it off, curve it off, pat it into shape, use a little bit of water, stick it into that divot. You can see the one side pretty good there, right there. It'll fit right in there nice and snug. And because we cut it at an angle, it just goes right in like a shoulder. See that? Nice and easy. Do the same thing for the other one. Just wrap it in white, trim off the extra, tuck it into that socket, and moving on. All right. I took some more yellow, just like before, like I was going to make arms, but this time I'm flattening it out, kind of flat, not too flat. And I'm going to wrap it around those lollipop sticks. And you'll remember I said we're going to use those for legs as well. Here's what we're doing. Okay, so you wrap it around, trim it in the back, and then you got to smooth that out as best you can, which I am not the best at, I will admit, but I try. And from the front, you can't even tell, so like it's like it's perfect from the front. And that'll be my little secret right there. Trim off any extra, and then, yeah, do the same on the other side. Use a little bit of water to hold that gum paste shut. trim off the extras, smooth it off, cut it down to size, because if you look at pictures, only a little bit of her legs actually show beneath the skirt. She's got short little legs. So moving on. All right, now we're back to the mouth, or excuse me, the head of Isabelle and her mouth. I have the mouth closed, so I'm just doing a green letter V basically. It's a little bit fatter at the bottom than it is at the top. It gets kind of skinny at the top. You can see me cutting it a little bit at an angle there. And that side's a little too long, so I'm trimming off some extra. And I'm curving the top over because that's just how it looked like in the pictures that I saw. And put it into place with a little bit of water. Right on top of that white muzzle thing we got going, then there you go. Just have it curved at the top a little bit, almost like a heart, you know, kind of like that. All right, we got another detail we're adding. We're going to add her tail. I took some more of the same darn yellow, kind of made it pointy on the one end. On the right, to the right, you can see it's a little bit pointy at the top there, and the rest is just kind of club-shaped. I'm taking some white and cutting some zigzags on it, so the tail is almost foxy. It's got the white on the end of it, and it's all kind of jaggedy. It's not rounded or smooth or straight or anything. It's kind of jaggedy, so that's what I'm trying to do here. I pinched it off, and then I'm going to trim it with my X-Acto knife. All that extra's coming off. And since it's around the edge, you can just kind of pinch it together nicely, and it'll just disappear. It's like it never even happened. And you got Isabelle's foxy little tail, even though she is not a fox. She is a dog. I have it sticking out to the side, just like in the picture I was following. And yeah, so far so good. Now it's been a little while, so her head has had time to set and harden. I'm going to add a piece of yellow that's nice and soft and fresh. I just made a little circle and stuck it over top of those lollipop sticks. I did trim them down. I probably trimmed them too much, honestly. And you can see I had already made those pilot holes there. So stick them on, and there you go. Adding a little tiny ball of yellow gum paste to the top of her head on that lollipop stick. And I'm adding her little ponytail thingy, because that has gotten nice and hard. Stick it all together, and there you go. We got a couple more details. I'm using an edible food coloring marker, as you see, to draw her little red bow on her shirt. I'm adding 2 balls of white gum paste to the dark green of her shirt for the buttons on her shirt. And yeah, there you go. Now you've got your Isabelle from Animal Crossing. Just let her sit up and finish drying and stick her on your cake. It'll look amazing. So thank you for checking out my video. I hope you found it helpful. Please like and subscribe because I find that helpful, and that way we help each other. And it's fair, right? I have a lot of other videos out there, so check those out if you like. And as always, thank you for watching Caketastic Cakes.